Hello everyone, good and happy, blessed and wonderful Sabbath day to each and every one of you. I pray that you all have had a blessed week where we know that through our week and our time that we have, where we are to be connecting every member of our body together in good health with the mind, body, spirit, soul, everything, the temple that we have, which is to reflect God's light in every way, shape, or form. And what we do to this temple is going to reflect to the world who we profess to be in Christ or not. And so what we do to this temple in all wisdom is either going to speak for God or it's going to speak for this world. And this is why we got to be educated through the scriptures, which will help us understand what we need to do and how to be wise and as harmless as dove. Just like Daniel and his 3 friends, when they were sent off into Babylon, into captivity, they were called to be a light to the heathen that don't understand what truth is, because the truth will set us free. And if Satan allows people to understand the truth, then it will remove them from his captivity. And this is why we've got to do everything we can to examine ourselves, to see if we're found in the faith and if we're complying with this world system or not. Because in these last days, as we're preparing for the coming of Christ, in this 11th hour movement, where soon we're either going to be found dying and entering into heaven, through death, or we're going to die and be, eternally separated and punished from God, or we're going to make it into the 144,000. And this is what we are striving so hard to be a part of in these last days. And it's crucial in this 11th hour movement, the remnant of her seed movement, who has left mentally, physically, and spiritually Laodiceanism and the church itself, which reflect all of these professed churches that claim that they love Christ, but yet they're bearing the fruits and the doctrine, the characteristics, and the principles and the traditions of men which stem from their mother of harlots, Rome. We are to leave them in the dust. We are to shake the dust of our feet. We're to receive the 3 angels' message, united with the 4th, coming out of all apostasy, including every church that is partaking in it. Depart from them. It's very simple. We don't have time to be playing around with them. And just because you bear the name SDA or you bear the name Protestant or whatever, it means nothing. Bearing the name means nothing. That's not what's going to save you. It's not going to be something that you need to show as a credential to make it to heaven. It's your fruits and your love for the truth and separating from Babylon and her daughters. The mother has daughters, and there's a false prophet dancing with the mother who has daughters all over this planet. In any church or any ministry or any home church or any place where there's a gathering claiming to be under Christ's love and authority and power and a part of a biblical church, if they're bearing the fruits of Laodiceanism, you've got to get out from among them and be separate, said the Lord. Touch not the uncleans, and then he will receive you and be a father unto you. And this is why the remnant hour movement, the 11th hour movement, the remnant of her seed, who has removed herself from Laodiceanism, all right? Removed yourself physically and spiritually. A lot of people remove themselves physically, but yet they still harbor the same characteristics as what we've seen, in the remnant churches, where they hear, they understand the truth, they perform it, and then they come in, and then they're shaken, and there's no rain. They wither away, they die, they walk away, they leave, remove their names, and don't care anymore. And it's really sad, to see those kinds of things happening, and it makes you want to cry, like we've seen some of our, brothers and sisters cry for their loved ones and such. But you understand and know that the best thing that you can do is follow what the scripture says in giving you wisdom and the fullness of the Godhead, family, that as Christians, we are told once or twice and to separate. If they don't want to listen, you've got to let them go and do what you understand is right to do. Have no connection. Your departure will be seen as, hateful, and you don't care and you don't love them. But God needs you to do that so He can move in and hopefully do His wonderful work of mercy and kindness and drawing them back in to where they belong with us as a remnant of her seed, people who are striving so hard to keep the faith and the love and the mercy and the kindness and all the fruits of the Spirit that God bestows upon His people in this latter rain season, which is so important because it produces the fruits that we need to have to show that there is a God in heaven who has given us all the wisdom and understanding and applying it in our life. And when we do that, people are going to see it and they're going to want to be a part of that. They're going to be attracted to you. We have negative and positive charges in this world, and that's good understanding to know that. And whichever one you're being more attracted to, if it's a negative charge, you've got to say, okay, wait a minute. This is not biblical. This is not good. This is going to cause me many temptations and to fall away from the living God. So no, I don't want to go there. That right there is a positive charge, rejecting the negative, because you don't want to go in that direction. So you continue to connect yourself and to get closer to God and walking that narrow path and going down that narrow road and leaving behind that broad road that everyone loves so much. They love the world so much. They want to get the wisdom of the world. They want to act like they're so smart and whatever and what have you. But we understand what Colossians, let's take a look at this. Colossians chapter 2 verse 8 says,
"Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ."
It says right there, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy. Vain deceit, philosophy. What have we been talking about in the 3 and 4th angel's message, where it gives us so much wisdom that we need to come out of her, my people, and be not partakers of her sins and receive not of her plagues. It's very important to understand and know that. That is so much good wisdom for us to understand, that we are to not have any connection with Babylon and her daughters who are producing this ecumenicism of horrible gathering with the wicked and these churches today. And most are corrupt. It's period. End of story. You are in a remnant. So you have a global empire. We don't know how many people there are, but they say like there's 8, billion people on the planet. Who knows? It doesn't really matter, and who cares? The bottom line is, when you look at the world and you see all the people in the world, most are going on that broad road to destruction. And as a remnant people, we are not to be listening to philosophers which produce vain deceit. It's like with that institution of NASA. You go to school and you learn the whole system of what you think is true with all the planets and the way things work and how there's no firmament and all this other stuff, and that they went to the moon. But how can you go to the moon if the moon is way out there and there's a firmament around it and stuff? And they produce all this stuff and trickery in the school system. You comply with it. And how God is so far out there and so far away, and He's just so far gone that people have a more tendency to believe that God doesn't exist because He's nowhere around, but He's just right there. And lo, He's with us always, even unto the end of the world. And so we are counseled, don't send your kids off to the heathen, and don't send them off to the system, because they're going to be trained in the system, by the system, and those are going to be their parents. Okay? Those parents are supposed to be training their own kids as much as possible, and not dumping them off in the school system and saying, I love you so much. How can you love them so much when you're dumping them off in the school system that is training them in the realm of philosophy and vain deceit, which are after the rudiments of the world and not after Christ? because we know that the school system, the educational system that wants to take all the kids to train them up in the ways of the heathen, to believe the ways of the heathen, and how this world works and how it's supposed to be run and how it's supposed to be done. They're teaching the kids how to be slaves, workers, not critical thinkers, to be entrepreneurs, to do things themselves. Because if you would come out of the wisdomness and the foolishness of this world, which is foolishness in the sight of God, and you read the Bible and you pray and you ask God, He will give you wisdom and understanding and knowledge and truth, and He will give you all that you need to do to separate from the wisdom of this world, to not be a slave to it, but to be a slave to Christ in a good way, who will help you produce the good fruits that proves you are off the grid. You're living off the grid. You're not sitting there in this system of slavery, learning its ways by the heathen and thinking that it's the right thing to do when it's not. True love and wisdom and good slavery is with God. I'm a slave to God because I love His truth, I love His ways, and He gives us true freedom from Satan. And this is why He calls us to come out of her, my people, and to shine your light and your love and true freedom, and showing the mercy and the kindness of God that He has provided for you and your family and those that you have been praying for. Don't go in the ways of the heathen. Don't learn the ways of the heathen. Get away from them and stop listening to these philosophers, because they are all a bunch of nonsense who claim to be wise, but yet they're fools, teaching kids and people from youth all the way up to they're grown up that this is the way that it is, and this is how they learn it, and then they think that they're so wise and they show their diplomas and stuff like this, but it's all foolishness. Why? Because it's all lie and vain deceit from these philosophers. And a lot of these teachers, I mean, even these modern day witches who have separated from the system of witchcraft, expose how, different terminologies and stuff that are being used today is all trickery, and how everything is just a big trickery and drama and like a massive movie of lies, and like it has I think it's a blue pill and the red pill or whatever, and you take one and it'll show you the truth, and the other one just lets you go back into your willful ignorance and deception. And so when you look at God's alternative way and system, His alternative way and system is to come out of this system, to be separate from the system, and then He'll receive you. You will understand wisdom and knowledge and how beautiful it is. And so let's take a look at James chapter 1 verse 5, where it says,
"If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him."
And so when you look at this, James chapter 1 verse 5, it says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God. Ask God, pray to Him. He will instruct you. He is your teacher. He's your guide. He's everything in your life that will give you in the scriptures everything that you need to know, and how to walk in this world, and how to get out of it, and how to not be a slave to it, and the temptations and the sins that it offers through this educational system of lies and corruption. And so it says, if you lack wisdom, ask God. Don't go to the system, because the system's only going to lie to you. I mean, seriously, is it really that difficult to find out what 1 + 1 is, or 1,000 plus 250,000 and stuff? You can educate your kids in that respect, or simple, proper English, or any of those other things. And then even when you look at multiplication, it's supposed to multiply, but yet you got 1 × 1 = 1. That's not multiplying anything. And so, I mean, when you get into the depths of everything, you just see that it's just a bunch of lies and foolishness. And it's just crazy. And so if you really want wisdom, go to the scriptures, go to God and ask Him, and He will provide it for you. You don't need this system educating you, or your children, or you. It's like, hey man, if you want to live out in the wilderness of your milk and honey and have a good health and grow your own food, you're not relying upon the school system, the health system, the witchcraft that comes from the drugs and pharmakia and the pharmacy, whatever. It's all trickery and sorcery. And the food is just like what you saw in Snow White with the poison apple. They're poisoning everything, and it's like Bill Gates, all the land that he's been buying up in America and the farms that he's been buying up, and this appeal is what it's called. No one knows what this chemical consists of and the components that it has that's sprayed on all the foods and stuff. And it's like, you know what, they just are doing everything they can to make as much money as they can off the commodity that they say you are because of your birth certificate and your social security number, and it's basically your slave number, and how you've given yourself over to the system since the day you were born, and you've been making them so much money and all this stuff. And when you look at this system, you want to get out of it as much as possible, because it's poisoning you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, draining the life and sucking the life out of everyone in every way, shape, or form that it can. And that's why you have even kids dying at a very young age, because at a very young age, maybe their immune system wasn't so good and they were just becoming a slave to the food and the processed stuff that you see in the stores, and being educated that is the good food when it's not. It's just death. And so we are called in every way, shape, or form, as much as possible, to get out of this system. Get out into the land of your milk and honey. Get exercise, get in the soil, get your vitamin D, look into the sun. They say don't look at the sun. Wear your glasses, protect yourself from the UV rays. Man, you need that sun blasting on your face in the morning. Look into it. Close your eyes, look into the sun, and let it just fill your temple. Look, in the educational system, they don't even teach you that we're in a magnetic field, and a lot of these metals and the magnetic field that we have, it's good vibrations for our body, and they don't want you to have that. So that's why they put rubber soles on the bottom of your feet, so you won't collect all that beautiful vibrations that you need flowing, electrical current flowing through your body and stuff. That's why when you get out in nature, take your shoes off, take whatever would destroy that. Lean up against a tree and put your hands on the grass and your feet on the dirt or whatever, and sit out there and join yourself with nature and take in the good stuff from it, the positive charges that you get from the book of nature. And animals, a lot of people are trained, ew, you dirty, nasty creature, in like some of these third world countries, because a lot of them don't take care of their animals. And why would you pick them up? Those animals, when you pick them up and you care for them and you hug them and you just take all that energy out of them, they walk around the planet with bare feet collecting up all this energy, and they feed it to you. And it's a good positive charge, and it's a lot of good stuff that you can learn from the book of nature that we're going to be getting into, in which we're doing a very nice study that's going to probably take about a good 5 months. It's just like with the seals and the trumpets and the plagues, where Laodicea, the ninth hour movement of the SDA Church and Babylon and all of their other corrupted stuff with the Jesuits that have infiltrated everything and changed so many things. We've got the truth on that because we went to God, and He gave us understanding in the scriptures what it means. And that's why we had those beautiful pages of truth up on our website regarding the plagues and the seals and the trumpets. And they've been put into place as they should be perfectly, and not going after the other writings of books that the Jesuits have infiltrated. Stick with the King James Bible. Do everything you can to understand it. It will guide you. And so we have a very nice study that we're doing, and I'm not releasing what it is. I'm not going to release it until it is fully rock solid, grounded in the truth. I'm not even going to give a hint to anyone other than the fact that it has everything to do with the book of nature. And we're going to make it rock solid like everything else, because that's what it takes to be able to produce and say to the world that this is the truth, And what you have learned in the system of education was an absolute lie. And I can tell you now, most of the institutions that you see in this world today is full of deception, like with what you have with, NASA and whatnot. They have lied so much about so many things and flipping everyone's head around. And they do that because if you were to learn the truth, there would be less atheists, I guarantee you, in this world. But because of the way they say this vast universe and there's just so much this and God's way out there, to the point that he doesn't even exist. But we've got to put on the wisdom. It's very nice to have wisdom, because in James chapter 3 verse 17 it says,
"But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy."
the wisdom from above is pure. Not the wisdom of the school system or the TV with the channels and the programming. It's like I said, when you look at the TV, it's a medium. It's a witch. Alright? It's a medium preaching to you. And it's there to program you in every channel. The medium, the channels that you receive this stuff from, it educates you, it programs you, and it teaches you how to be. This is why you see, Hollywood, and yeah, we know the Hollywood tree and the witchcraft and the broomsticks and all that kind of stuff. They program the minds of the kids and the people to be a certain way, and next thing you know is everyone's coloring their hair pink. And that's what this system is built upon. And when you look at this hypocrisy, this wisdom, it's not a hypocrite, it's not hypocrisy like you hear from the heathens, where they say, if you're a family member, blood is thicker than water, whatever. And no matter what they believe in the family, or this group in the family and stuff, we're all one. No, what makes us one is the biblical truth. And if your family is full of heathens and Catholicism and modern day Protestantism and stuff, which is just nothing more than a daughter to Babylon, like you see with the SDA Jesuit-run institution of the Seventh Day Adventists, you see that they're all coming together as one. But when you look at your family and you're listening to them and you're taking counsel from them and you're placing it above what God has said, then it's hypocrisy, because you claim that you love God, but yet you're doing the ways of the heathen. Or like if the heathen tell you in your family that we're all family, we're all one, and no matter what, we are not to separate, but we're to come together, etc., and have peace and and love and good harmony and whatnot. But yet they're hypocrites. If they were to apply that, then why is it that they would want to leave those that are in the truth, or to remove their names from being friends with us, or to remove their friends? Like if you're on Facebook, they remove their friendship with you and what have you. So they're hypocrites. They claim that they were told that they need to be loving towards everybody, so they go after their enemies that have attacked you and have lied about you and have done all sorts of evil about you and against you. They throw you in the trash, they leave you out the door, but they go with them. It's hypocrisy, because if you were to apply what you were educated about, being one family and forgiving and loving and whatever, then you should be like that to everyone, but you're not. You're a hypocrite. And so anyways, this world system and the wisdom of it is all hypocrisy, and it's just full of nonsense, and it's not merciful. It doesn't have love. It's not peaceable. It's not merciful. And this is why your loved ones, those of you who are in the truth, this is why your loved ones who profess to even love God or even keep the Sabbath or what have you, claim that they love, but yet they're hypocrites and they don't even practice what they preach. And they're so blind that it's just really, really sad. And the only thing that you can do is, like you've said, continue to press forward, to continue to march onward. Yes, it's painful and it hurts, because we all love them so much and we're all ready forgiving them for what they have done, and everything could be great. But they need to leave their gift at the altar, come back to the remnant of her seed movement, ask for forgiveness, come back to them, then go back to God, and then leave your gift at the, pick up your gift and put it on the altar, and God will accept it. But until you repent and turn from the ways of the world and come back to the fold, anything that you do outside of this time and at this point is in vain, and it's not counted. It is not counted, because you were told, leave your gift at the altar, and God says, go back to your brethren, where my truth and my church is at, reconcile with them, and then come back to me and grant me your gift and your offering. Because until then, nothing that you do on this earth is going to register in the books of heaven. It will be removed, and in the end, you will be eternally removed. And that's why you can have people in the present truth church, in the remnant of her seed movement, the 11th hour movement, crying because they love you so much, like all of us do. But until they fully receive the three angels message and the fourth angel to come out of the world and to not be a friend of the world and what have you, there's nothing for them. So just continue to move forward, brethren. Separate from the world, which they call is wisdom, but it's foolishness with God, and it's just a bunch of trickery. And if that's what they like and that's what they want, we can't stop them. We can just educate and teach. And if they go that way, then they're on the broad road. But we're going to stay on the straight and narrow path as much as possible, no matter how many fall. 10,000 on your left side, 10,000 on your right side. You keep pressing forward in the good love of God, and I'll see you all next time. God bless you all who are contending and striving for the faith, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.